welcome back to another video. It's been so long and I'm so glad to be finally back. Today I am joined by my lovely dog Milky, and he's just had a bath right now, so he's feeling super sleepy and he's just going to be chilling in the background today. I don't know if you can tell, but I've got a new mic today which I'm super excited about, and even more excitingly I am back. I'm so ready to be filming videos and to talk and share everything with you guys again. But also something that's new is this setup. You might have noticed that the setup behind me looks very different from before. I'm going to be updating you all a little bit as to what's been going on in my life lately. My husband and I are currently in the middle of trying to make this new flat a bit more put together. We still haven't fully moved in and there are boxes everywhere. We've hardly ordered any furniture. So until the new bookshelves arrive and are fully set up, I'll be filming in here temporarily, I think. In the time that I've been away, autumn has come and settled here in England, and so I've got my ginger tea in my new Ghibli mug, and I've got the little pumpkins in the background and a gorgeous smelling pumpkin candle as well. In this video I basically just want to sit and share with you all what's been going on for the past couple of months and why I haven't been uploading. And since I haven't talked to you all in so long about books as well, one of my favourite things in this world, I will be sharing some of the books that I've been enjoying lately as well. I still can't believe we're in autumn now and we're halfway through October already. It is one of my favourite seasons of the year alongside winter, and I just love everything about it. I love how cozy you can get. I love that you can cuddle up under soft blankets. I love how vibrant the trees are this year as well, especially the colours of the autumn trees are beautiful. Another reason as to why I adore this time of year is because I just love wearing thick sweaters and jumpers, just like the one I'm wearing today. This sweater is from Simple Retro and I'm so excited to be partnering again with them. I'm hoping that these 3 pieces that I share with you all today is going to just give a little bit of inspiration for your own autumn wardrobes as well. So this first piece is the Leah sweater and it's so lovely and thick. It's actually so thick that the mic, it has a magnet at the back of it. It wouldn't actually stick to the magnet, and so I've had to just clip it onto the sweater for now. I recently got this raspberry red knitted top, and ever since I bought that I've been really drawn to red and I've been wanting to wear a lot more of the colour, so I picked this one out specifically because of the gorgeous rose pattern on it, and I love the pop of red against this sort of almost apricot creamy kind of colour. I've just clipped my hair up because it was getting in the way of the mic, I think. But this is a beautiful blouse and it's the Adeline Edwardian style blouse. It's got a lovely collar and I love the little tight detail it has at the front. I just think it's going to look so cute on. Of course, you've got gorgeous sleeves and just lace detailing everywhere. And since it's autumn, I couldn't resist picking up a gorgeous knitted top. This is the Lara top and it comes with this actual like 2-piece here, and I love the grey flowers as well. It has these lovely sleeves that just hang so beautifully when you wear it, and so I know I'm going to get so much use out of this as well. I'd love to know which of the 3 items is your favourite, and of course don't forget to use the code Ahya10 for 10% off your order. And thank you so much again to Simple Retro for sponsoring today's video. So since the last time that I posted, 2 major things have happened in my life, which meant that I had to put a little bit of a pause on video making. I'd actually planned on making lots of videos and then sharing them all throughout summer and autumn whilst I was away, and so I was really sad and upset that I couldn't film as much autumn content as I would have liked to. Of course, we're still in October, so I do have time for lots more cozy content, but I think I just wanted to let you know that it was always on the back of my mind and I really wanted to be able to film. So I'm just glad that I'm sitting down with you all right now. So for the very first update, I got married. On September 7th, I got married to my best friend Ian, and it was the most precious day of our lives. In case you were curious, I'll post lots of photos here right now and throughout this video, but my husband and I, we met when we were 13 because we actually grew up in the same town and we still live in the same town now, so it's just like a full circle moment for us. We didn't start dating until 19, but we actually managed to celebrate our 5-year anniversary together before our wedding day, and so it was all in the same week, so there was a lot going on, as you can imagine. I was just so touched by how there was an entire community around us who'd helped us to get married in the first place, and the wedding day was just such a lovely, lovely time. Like I mentioned before, I'd actually planned on filming a lot of videos as backup and then sharing it over whilst I was gone, so there wasn't a big break for you guys, but things went a little crazy in the lead up to the wedding. It didn't really help that my husband and I were really not very productive in the early months of our engagement, and so that meant a lot of things were pushed back and we were rushing like crazy. But before we knew it, the wedding had come and gone, and we were now getting ready and packing so that we could go to Korea and Japan for our honeymoon. What we were initially hoping for was that we'd have a couple of days to decompress before we left, but because I was so busy before the wedding day, I didn't actually manage to move everything out, and so we were moving in the couple of days that we had after the wedding before our flight to Seoul. But we managed to make it, and on the 11th of September, I believe, we arrived at Seoul in Korea. We travelled for 3 weeks in total, and oh my goodness, it was such a wonderful jam-packed trip. Both my husband and I, we haven't been able to experience and fully explore Korea by ourselves. We are both Korean, but we were both born in England, and so all our extended family live there, and whilst we were growing up, we did manage to go and visit friends and family a couple of times. I think it was every other year for me at least, and I'd spend the whole summer there at my grandma's house. But as we got older, it became very financially difficult for us to afford going to Korea. I think the plane tickets cost like £1,000 per person, and so that meant that I hadn't been able to go back in, I think, 6 or 7 years, and I think my husband almost close to 10 years, and so we were both super eager to visit. As you can imagine, we had so much fun visiting all sorts of cities in Korea. We ended up going to Seoul, and we explored also Busan and Jeolldo, which is where my family live right now, at least my mum's side of the family. And then we went to Chuncheon to see his family, Ian's side of the family. In the middle of our Korea trip, we actually travelled to Japan as well, because we were like, we're in Korea, we might as well go to Japan. Now, this was a dream of mine come true. You guys know how much I adore Japanese literature and Japanese media. Studio Ghibli, for one, is one of the biggest influence in my life right now, and I've been such a huge fan of it for years. I grew up watching My Neighbor Totoro, and so like the impact that Studio Ghibli has had on my life is enormous. It was so magical to be able to be in Japan, to taste Japanese, authentic Japanese food and the street food there as well, but also to sightsee and hear the Japanese language everywhere that I went. It was just phenomenal. In Japan, we travelled to Tokyo, then we went to Kyoto, and then we went to Osaka. I actually filmed a ton whilst I was away, and there was so much footage that I've decided to split it into a couple of videos. I of course visited so many different bookshops, and I've got a cute book haul coming for you all as well. But as you can imagine, all of this traveling and getting married and wedding planning, it's been a lot, and so I haven't had much time to read, unfortunately. I'm the kind of person who enjoys being a bookworm. I love everything that comes with being a bookworm. I love reading, obviously. I love book shopping, visiting libraries, visiting bookshops. I love spending all my free time researching bookshops and new books, and so not being physically able to sit down and decompress and read was actually quite stressful for me, and it took a very long time for me to be okay with the fact that I wasn't going to have the time to read for the foreseeable future. If there's anything that I learned from all of this, it's that different stages of life call for different amounts of spare time you can dedicate to a hobby, to a craft, to reading. But I am very glad to report that over the last couple of days I've managed to dive back into it, and it's just been such a relief and such a cathartic experience to be able to have that time to pick it up, and I'm so grateful for it. So I do want to share with you all the couple of books that I have finished the last few weeks. First up, we have 말하고 싶은 비밀 by Sakura Iyo, and this is a Japanese, well, it's originally a Japanese book that's been translated into Korean. I picked this book up in Korea, and when I was visiting the bookshops in Korea, I was just enamored by how beautiful each and every single cover was. There's just so much attention to the aesthetic of books there. I believe that this book has actually been made into a movie, and I can't wait to watch that because this book had me hooked. This is my first time actually reading an entire book in Korean. I think I always wanted to give it a shot, but because we live in the UK, it's very hard to get our hands on Korean texts, and I'm sure a lot of other language speakers might be able to relate to it. Yeah, it's very hard to get on books that aren't in English here, and so it really was never an option for me. Although Korean is technically my first language, I'm sure a lot of you might be able to relate to this, but I grew up speaking English majority of the time because of school and friends, etc. So I find it a lot easier to read in English than Korean, and so this book was a bit of a challenge to me. I wanted to see how comfortable I was, and I actually had a really good time reading it. Obviously, I was a little bit slower and I took my time with it so that I wasn't missing anything. And when there were a couple of words that I didn't know, I'd spend time looking it up, and so I was learning more and more Korean vocab as I went along, which was lovely as well. I should probably share what this book is actually about. This book is set in Japan in a Japanese high school, and it follows our main character called Nozomi. Nozomi is super shy, and she feels that she's often overlooked by her classmates because she doesn't have a very big personality. One day though, to her surprise, she receives a letter from the most popular boy at school, and he confesses his love to her. And so out of shyness, Nozomi can't face the prospect of talking to him face to face, and so she asks him if they can just correspond via letters. Unfortunately, and this isn't me this isn't me spoiling anything because it's actually a part of the blurb, but sadly, Nozomi finds out that the letter wasn't actually addressed to her, and so it was delivered to the wrong person essentially. But as they continue to exchange letters and the two of them get to know each other, things bubble and change, and that's what this entire book is about. I actually hate with my whole heart the miscommunication trope, and when I first picked this book up, I didn't know, I hadn't read the blurb clearly very well, And when I found out that it was all based off a miscommunication, I freaked out a little bit and I was super nervous about picking it up. And there were a lot of times where this book genuinely frustrated me, but because of all of that, it made it an unstoppable experience. I just couldn't put it down at all. And I picked it up as I was on my honeymoon in Korea, but I think for about 2 nights straight, I stayed up because I had to finish this book. I had to know what happened. The characters were adorable, and I actually think that the author did a really fantastic job of depicting what love, like teenage love, looks like, the sort of dauntless, reckless love that you can have during that time of your life. And it was really lovely seeing these two characters grow closer together. They're so sweet in the book as well. If you're into your K-dramas and you love K-dramas, especially that are set during schools, I think you might really enjoy this book. Next up, I managed to read Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I actually started reading this before the wedding in August, and I didn't finish it until I got back in October, so this book took a fair few months to finish. I don't think that's the book's fault though, that's purely because I didn't have the time to pick it up, and so I was reading like a page a day. But this book follows a young woman called Signa, and she was orphaned as a baby, and so her only current living relatives are the Hawthorns. The Hawthorns are supposed to be a very eccentric family, and they're almost, well, they have a reputation for being very reclusive. But when Signa arrives, she realizes that her cousins and her uncle might be in mortal danger, and so she ends up partnering not just with anyone but with Death himself in order to understand what's going on. I think my favourite thing about this book was its gothic tone and the lovely autumn winter landscapes that Adeline Grace was able to portray so beautifully. In Korea and Japan, it was boiling. It was 34 degrees, and so I was sweating the entire trip, and I was just longing for the crisp autumn days. And so diving into this book a couple pages a day really helped me to live that sort of fantasy that autumn was fast approaching. The moody sort of spooky atmosphere was really tangible, and I also thought that the chemistry was really good between Signa and Death. All that being said though, I think I only ended up giving this about 3.75 to 4 stars because I didn't find myself caring too much about any of the characters. I don't know if I can put that on the book because it did take me so long to finish it. Because of my own time constraints. But overall, I had a good time with it, and I think if you're looking for an autumnal read, I really would suggest picking this up for the atmosphere itself. Last but not least, I did manage to finish A Study in Drowning, I think like 2 days ago, maybe it was even yesterday. But this book is by Ava Reid, and it follows a girl called Effie. Effie is studying at her first term of architecture college, and she's not having the best time with it. She initially wanted to apply as a literature student, but because the literature college wouldn't accept female students, the architecture college is where she's at. Since her childhood though, Effie has been haunted by visions of the Fairy King, and the only comfort that she's found was reading a very famous author's book called The Angarad. And so when the said late author's family announced that they are hosting a sort of competition in order to rebuild the author's family home, Effie believes that this is her destiny and she is destined to design this house. Unfortunately, once she arrives at the manor, she faces another student called Preston, and he seems to be determined to prove that the author is actually a fraud. And so you can imagine that there is a lot of the two of them, there is a lot of chemistry between them, and I just found myself so hooked on the entire storyline of this book. This is also another perfect fit for this time of year. It's so atmospheric. If you love atmospheric reads, this book is lyrical. It's filled with gorgeous descriptions of winter seas and autumn chills. Ooh. Hello, Milky. Yeah, you want some cuddles? I will say though that if you are planning on picking this book up, do read into the trigger warnings because there's a lot of sensitive topics that are dealt with. But I think that's everything for today. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I'd love to know what you've been up to, what books you've been enjoying. Thank you again to Simple Retro for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to use the code. All the links will be in the description box below. But I hope you all enjoy this video. I just don't want to say bye. I had so much fun filming. I can't wait to film the next one for you all. And so until next time, I hope you stay safe. I hope you stay well, friends. Bye.